There really is nothing shocking about the departure of Bill Belichick from the New England Patriots today. The announcement wasn't shocking. The way the announcement went, with how kind of low key the press conference was between Robert Kraft and Bill Belichick, there was nothing shocking about it today. And now, the easiest part for New England, I think, is going to be replacing Bill Belichick in the fact that they can't really do it. And I think they know they can't do it. Um, and they've already had the experience of trying to replace Tom Brady in the last 5 years. And even if there wasn't a thought from upper front office ownership, there was a thought from the coaching staff, especially from Bill Belichick, that he could replace Tom Brady. Now they know they couldn't replace Tom Brady, and with that knowledge, they should be able to know they can't replace Bill Belichick. They have to go a completely different direction than trying to continue the Bill Belichick way while he's not there. Because as bad as it has been the last 3 years, they still were one of the most respected organizations in the NFL because of the fact that Bill Belichick was there. So, who is really an able replacement? The easiest answer is Mike Vrabel, recently let go by the Tennessee Titans in a move that was probably the most shocking in the NFL so far. This offseason, technically, the most shocking move so far was Mike Vrabel being fired. And with his knowledge of playing for the New England Patriots for around a decade, his knowledge of coaching in the last 6-7 years, I think he's been a head coach. He's shown an ability to get a team to play above their expectations with the Tennessee Titans over the last few years. Even this year, they're the reason that the Jacksonville Jaguars didn't make the playoffs and the Houston Texans won the AFC South. They still had a very massive impact on the landscape of the NFL this year, even with only being a 6-win football team. And that was with playing a rookie quarterback for half the year, benching Ryan Tannehill just for him to have to finish the year and have him win that last game against the Jaguars. A running game with Derrick Henry, who probably had his worst year as a pro. A passing game where the receivers, Treylon Burks and insert other name here, didn't ever get off the ground running really well, even with DeAndre Hopkins coming in from free agency. The defense wasn't incredible, but they also had a lot of injuries, including Jeffrey Simmons, who was lost for the entire year, somewhere between the midpoint of the NFL season. So this team in the Tennessee Titans, it was probably the best, not really interview, but it was the best showcase that any coach put out there this year. And it's the easiest thing to say that Mike Vrabel should be the new NFL coach or the new head coach for the New England Patriots. So, is there really another option? Well, you can say that, Jim Harbaugh is the guy who's been linked to the Vegas Raiders, to the Los Angeles Chargers, to the, any other team who has a head coach opening at the moment, or who possibly could have a head coach opening after the playoffs are done. Does Jim Harbaugh really work in New England? I don't think so. I don't think that's the right time or the right team for a Jim Harbaugh. Could it be one of these offensive coordinators or defensive coordinators? Could it be a Dave Canales from Tampa Bay? Could it be a Bobby Slowick from Houston? Could it be any of those offensive or defensive coordinators in the NFL who are getting head coaching interviews at the moment? Ejiro Evero from Carolina. I just don't think that makes sense either. And again, this is all going to come back to, I already laid out the answer. It's Mike Vrabel. This is the easiest answer. It's the most logical answer. It's the answer that makes the most sense for the New England Patriots. And it's the answer that makes the most sense for Mike Vrabel. Because if you're looking at it from New England's prospects, they're not going to be good for a while. They're not. They still have Mac Jones on the roster. They still have an inept wide receiver core. They still have a tight end group that isn't even above average. They still have an offensive line who can't really do much. They have a defense, and that's Mike Vrabel's calling card, is defense. And If you're just going to straight up give him one side of the ball, it better be the defense. New England has something that I think really interests Mike Vrabel, and they have a top pick to possibly get a quarterback, possibly get a Drake May, possibly get a Caleb Williams, possibly get any quarterback possible. Jaden Daniels possibly. The only issue with it is it's obviously going to be different. And while it's going to be different, that's almost not even necessarily true, because Mike Vrabel is as close to a Bill Belichick style of coach that we have in the NFL right now. You compare Mike Vrabel to the rest of the other 30 NFL coaches, excluding Bill Belichick, he's the closest to Belichick in terms of his mannerisms, in terms of his coaching style, in terms of his accountability that he holds his players and himself and his coaching staff to. And I just said it was a problem. It's not a problem. It's almost the best possible timing that Tennessee decided to make the, in my opinion, stupid move of firing Mike Vrabel, and that's coming from a Houston Texans fan. It was a dumb decision to let Mike Vrabel go. Whatever their owner wants to say about it, it was a terrible decision. And they let Mike Vrabel basically walk into an incredible situation to be not only a New England Patriots Hall of Famer, but the probable next New England Patriots head coach.